When your pack feels twice as heavy by the middle of the day, your legs are already cooked, and every mile starts turning into a grind, it usually traces back to a few mistakes that sneak up on new backpackers. In this video, I'm breaking down 3 mistakes that quietly wreck your trail experience and the simple fixes that keep your energy steady from the first mile to the last. I'm Chris, and after hundreds of nights in the backcountry and helping thousands of backpackers get trail ready, I've seen these issues show up again and again. If you've ever finished a trip wondering why everything felt harder than it should, this is exactly what you need. The first mistake is starting the trip like you're trying to prove something. I see this all the time. You hit the trail full of energy, the pack feels great, your legs feel fresh, and you think, I'll just knock out a big first day and then tomorrow will be easier. That mindset is exactly where the trouble begins. What usually happens is the first few miles feel perfect, so you keep pushing. But the terrain slowly adds up, maybe the heat starts kicking in, and before you realize it, you've burned most of your energy reserves before the trip has even settled in. By late afternoon, your legs start feeling heavy, your pace slows down, and your body is already dealing with more strain than it can recover from overnight. The reason this wrecks the rest of the experience is because day 1 sets the baseline for your whole trip. If you push harder than your body is prepared for, it leads to tight muscles the next morning, lower morale, and less gas in the tank. And once you fall behind physically, you tend to start making more mistakes. You stop drinking enough water, you snack less, you take fewer breaks, you get caught in the cycle where everything starts feeling harder than it needs to be. I've made this mistake more times than I want to admit, and every single time it turned the trip into a grind that didn't need to happen. So here's the fix. Start slower than you think you need to on day 1. Plan a shorter first day, even if the terrain looks easy. Let your body ease into the pack weight, the climbing, the heat, and the rhythm of moving all day. Take breaks before you feel tired. Drink water early and often. Eat snacks even if you're not hungry yet. The first few hours of the first day are your chance to settle in, and giving your body that window pays you back every mile after. And if you find value in these kind of backpacking tips, make sure to hit subscribe so that you can keep getting practical upgrades that you can put to use on your very next trip. The goal is simple. When your body feels steady at the end of the first day, the rest of your trip just feels better. You move easier, you stay energized, and you feel like you're actually out there to enjoy the outdoors instead of just doing like a multi-day cardio workout. The next mistake is letting yourself slip behind on hydration and calorie intake without even noticing it. This one feels harmless at first. You take a few sips of water in the morning, you eat a quick snack at lunch, and you assume that's enough for the rest of the trail. But when you're carrying weight on your back and climbing all day, your body burns through energy a lot faster than you think. And if you don't keep up with that, everything starts feeling harder. Your legs feel heavier, you get that slow, dull headache, your patience drops, and miles start feeling longer than they should. The tricky part is that the early signs are subtle. You might stop talking as much. You might start looking at the ground more instead of looking around you as you hike. The climbs feel steeper than they did a few hours ago. You feel a little off, but you can't pinpoint why. Then, out of nowhere, your energy crashes, and now you're fighting for every step. I've done this plenty of times myself. I thought I was fine until the switch flipped and suddenly I was dragging myself up the trail wondering what went wrong. The reason this hits so hard is because your body needs a steady stream of water and calories to keep moving. That doesn't mean you have to slam huge meals or be chugging water nonstop, just small, consistent snacks and steady sipping on water. When you go long stretches without drinking, your body can't cool itself as well and your muscles start working inefficiently. When you don't eat for hours, your blood sugar drops, and that's when your legs lose their consistency. You stop walking with a rhythm and you kind of start slogging. Here's a simple fix. Eat before you feel hungry. Drink before you feel thirsty. And on really hot days, throwing some electrolytes in your water helps your body maintain its mineral levels while continuing to hydrate. And before we move on, I'd love to hear from you. What's one simple drinking or food habit you changed that made your days on trail feel easier? Drop it in the comments because that one small tip might be exactly what someone else needs. All right, so if the first two mistakes are about managing your body, this next one's about managing your gear. So this mistake is a classic. Loading your pack with gear you think you might need instead of gear you know you'll use. This usually comes from a good place. You don't want to get caught off guard, so you start imagining every scenario that could possibly happen. Then your pack ends up stuffed with backup tools, extra clothing, extra cooking gear, multiple headlamps, and all sorts of items that seem like they could be important if the situation arose. The problem is that every extra piece of gear adds weight to your pack, and that weight can catch up with you fast once you're climbing, stepping over rocks, or hiking in the hot sun. And the problem with overpacking isn't just the extra weight on your back. An overly crowded pack can slow you down in ways you don't notice at first. You end up digging through layers of gear just to find the one thing you actually need. Your camp setup can take longer because everything is buried and unorganized. That constant clutter forces you to think more, sort more gear, and work harder than you should. I've watched beginners load up their packs with so many backup items that they easily added an extra 10 pounds to their base weight. And I was no exception. On my first few trips, I was packing for the kind of emergencies that you typically see on like survival shows instead of what actually happens on a normal weekend backpacking trip. The fix is to be brutally honest about what belongs in your pack. When you lay everything out before your trip, touch each item and ask yourself one simple question. Will I use this? Not might I use this, but will I? If the answer is no, there's a good chance that piece of gear should stay at home. And look for gear that serves more than one purpose. And if you can, have an experienced backpacker do a shakedown of your kit with you. Or you can share your gear list online in backpacking forums, Facebook groups, or Reddit pages. Other backpackers can spot the unnecessary items instantly, because when your pack holds only what you need, the whole trip feels smoother. You move better, you camp faster, and keep your energy focused on the experience instead of hauling extra weight. When you avoid these habits and keep your body steady, your pack dialed in, and your pace realistic, the miles start to feel way more manageable. You get more out of every day because you're not wasting energy on preventable problems. And that opens the door to trips that feel the way they were meant to. And if you want to keep getting trail advice that actually makes your next trip easier, hit subscribe so you can keep building those skills with every video. And if you want more ways to make your days on trail feel smoother, check out this next video where I break down a handful of simple gear upgrades that make a massive difference in camp comfort. So thanks for watching, keep your pack light and your pace steady, and I'll see you on the trail.